Hello, my friends. It's dark, it's early, and I just want to come to you from where I sit at this time of the day, early in the morning. I pray, and very often I just stay in the armchair because it feels more comfortable and I feel more at ease rather than the sort of normal directions to sit up straight and follow your breath. Just, I can rest here and pray. Sometimes it's one can't prescribe prayer for people because we've all got our own unique way of doing it. It was suggested to me that I might give a slight focus to the waiting that is Advent, this time of waiting. And what struck me on Sunday, the first Sunday of Advent, was all the references to stay awake, stay awake. It's so easy for us to fall asleep, sleep our way through life, and not be awake. Now, what do I mean by being awake? It's a sensitivity or an awareness, I go back to that word, of the inbreaking of God in our world. That's really what the incarnation is about, God coming into our world. And for me, God is everywhere. He's around us. And, when we were growing up, the catechism question, where is God? God is everywhere. But then it proceeded to tell us that God was really only in the Catholic Church, and then only in the tabernacle, and only priest was only in connection, and if they were in good standing, and if your marriage was right, that so God became not available. So for me, that God is inbreaking all the time. That incarnation is something continuous, and we mustn't limit it. And that's why we must stay awake. Because if we're serious about this, if we really take the Christian possibilities seriously, that means that we're handing over direction and fulfillment of my life to God, and specifically to the guidance of the Spirit. Now, to stay awake to that possibility, first of all, but also to the nudges and guidance that He will give us if we're awake. And what do I mean by that? It means that God needs certain forms to come into our world. And I think all of us have to provide some medium through which God can speak to us. And that's why we pray. Prayer is much about listening to God. That's why I read, because in reading, God speaks to us, particularly in the scriptures. And here's an example I had the other day. I mentioned wormwood in the beginning of the Advent talk. And I came back to my room and I opened I was reading the book of Revelation, and there in chapter 7, I think it is, was wormwood. Oh, I said, oh my goodness. Confirmation that I was on the right track. And today, when I was thinking about this stay awake, I took down a book and opened it up, and the very first thing it said, I could not again credit it, but there it was, stay awake. The call to worship to the church in Ephesus is succinct and commanding. Sleep or awake, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine in you. So that's what it means to stay awake. It means to have for me, my antennae attuned and being prepared to be led by God, the incarnate God, operating in our world for my good and for my guidance. So this week in Advent, that's my focus, to stay awake. And it's easier in community. That's why we go to church, because you have a lot of people. It's harder to go fall off to sleep if there's a group of you, and I'm at a big advantage that being here. And the church provides, as I've said before, lots of resources, most of which is not using, to keep us awake, to keep us alert. Colours and readings and incense, and particularly, as I say, chant. So stay awake, alert to the nudges, and listening. Listening, St. Benedict says, with the ear of the heart, not just with our ears, but with all our senses. Like I often think of Evelyn Glendenny, the percussionist, who hears with her body, It's that attunement to God's nudges leading us to life that I aim for. So God bless, and we'll play some of the Vespers chant that began Advent for us last Saturday. Keep safe, keep well, and I'll see you next time.
Conservados in tempore, hostis ad